G'day everyone and welcome to another episode on the River Styx server. We're back in the city today and I just wanted to give you a bit of an update on some of the things that have been going on around here. You're going to notice some changes. So first things first, we've done quite a lot of live streams, but basically Spider and I leveled off this whole area, got rid of all the trees. We filled it all up with like grass, fixed up the layers and things like that. We've put in roads over this side. Well, I say I put in roads over this side. I've also done the footpaths all the way around the roads. Now, if you remember, I said basically going to have the road, then you have the footpath, and then you have like their sort of council verge. Their own personal verge, so to speak. And this is what it's going to be. So for now, this road's going to end over here. This one will end over here. Now, we've also put in a few zebra crossings. I think they're about the same all the way around the world, so hopefully everyone understands what they are. And I've also done some lights in the middle of the road. You can see it's just a redstone torch, a redstone lamp, and a pressure plate on top. So it sort of blends in pretty well, but you can see it. I've also chucked the occasional pothole in. I've got to do some more around the city. Some of them have water in them, some of them don't. So that just sort of adds a little bit of extra sort of detail into the roads and into the city. So you've got a few of those lying around. But as you can see, the lights in the middle of the road do a pretty decent job of lighting up the area. It's not 100% perfect. It's just so that they've got enough light. It'll help decrease the amount of mobs that spawn as we put up towers. Now, a couple of other small things. In the previous episode, you would have seen quite a few towers going up, and one of them we got to mention was this one here that was done by my daughter. She's finally finished it off, and we can have a quick look at that. But first, let's go sleep. So this is the building my daughter's built. Sort of looks a bit like a tiered cake. I absolutely love the details that she's got on the outside by using slabs and stairs all around it. I think it looks really cool. I love the color palette as well. Looks really great. If we come inside the building, okay. There you go. That was weird. If you come inside the building, it's completely empty. Now she's got staircases going up, which is fantastic. She also, I like what she's done here, where instead of having all the staircases face the same way, they sort of zigzag. So there's not a whole lot of room up here. So what I was thinking, what we might do in this building is we might use it for a bunch of micro farms. So maybe we'll stick like, you know, the 2-tool flower farms, things like that, where you can just sort of bone meal them and you get a bunch of stuff. And we can just have it all all basically farming in here. And maybe if we've got the space, we can put it into some sort of storage down here. If not, the storage can just be next to it. To be honest with you, those sorts of things you don't really need a ton of storage for anyway. Now, as we come down here, you'll notice that we've got this sort of ramp coming down, which works out quite nice. We still need to do some retaining for it. You can see this is all just cut out. And this bit up here, what I'm thinking is we might have like little parks. This is just sort of like a little pathway that's coming around. And we'll have like a tree here and a tree here. So this will be just like a little park where you can walk. Maybe there'll be a park bench you can look out and whatever. And that way it doesn't completely ruin the view for our little farm over here. As we come down the road here, we can see that we have some traffic lights. So this is the only intersection that needs the traffic lights. And I've got a little present here, I've noticed, to AusCrafterSim from Twitch chat. So I have no idea who did this, but they've decided to capture a creeper and put it right in the center of the traffic lights. It's actually perfectly centered as well. I love the little jar with the cork on it. It looks fantastic. I think that's really cool. I don't know who was up to it, but I love it. Absolutely love it. But yeah, so we've got the road that goes up here. This building here, we're going to be putting a farm inside of today. I mentioned to you before that's going to be a cactus farm, so we're going to actually get into that very shortly. And then over here, we've got to build a retaining wall that's going to hold this so it's not floating. And along here, and then I also want to put a retaining wall on the road over this way. So if we come down here, again, zebra crossings all over the place. You can see that I've only done the footpath on one side. This path over here was very challenging because of the angle of the road. It was quite hard to do, but I think it's turned out quite nice. Anyway, so basically this side over here is not going to have any footpath, and it's going to have, what we're going to do is going to actually build a retaining wall holding it all up, because at the moment it's just a floating road and that just looks weird. Now, another thing that we've done as well, or we've started to do at least, is, as I mentioned to you before, right, so you got the road, this is the council verge, and then this is like the verge of the building itself, and each one of these will match the style of the building. So as you can see here, that one there, that's where they built from there onwards. This building was started here and went that way. So this is like a nice modern, brand new looking building. It's got nice shiny quartz path. This one here had the darker stony sort of look to it. So all the deep slates and things like that. So we went with the deep slate stone path. And obviously over this side there was going to be some other stuff as well. And then over here for the iron farm or iron golem towers, They've gone with a nice iron verge, which kind of just makes sense. As we come around this corner over here, again, zebra crossing. Yeah, the sheep tower has its own little verge, so everything's sort of starting to look the way it's meant to. We still got to do a few things around here. These are marking something out, which I'll explain later on. All right, we've even got a footpath that goes down a little bit lower here and then comes back up. We've still got a lot to get done, but it is starting to look a bit more like a city now. So as we come around here, even out the front of the hospital, and obviously, you know, the road hasn't been finished on this side, but you can see where it all goes. There's lights all through it, and everything's just starting to come together. Now back up here on top of the new resort tower, over this way, we've actually Spidered, Watermelon, myself, and a couple others started to convert this over into a beach. So some of this was sand, and there was actually that little hills right here. I don't know if you guys remember where I used to break down all the ores in the early episodes. That was right here. So we've got a little island there. You can sort of see there, you know, you've got a little umbrella, you got a little palm tree, a little sandcastle, more sandcastles. So we were sort of going to slowly convert this over to a beach, like a private beach area for the resort. There'll be umbrellas, there'll be little sunbeds, there'll be all sorts of stuff. It's going to be a nice little wooden boardwalk. But most of that's going to all be done on stream, so make sure you keep an eye out on those if you want to see those. But at least now from up here on top of the buildings, you can start seeing what looks like some nice streets. They look like real roads now. They've got the paths on each side. Even up there, it's got a nice little ramp up so it doesn't look strange. Over here, you can see that it sort of follows the sort of groove to the land. I've sort of laid it up a little bit so it's not all the same level, and things like that. So we've got some big plans for that side of the city, which we're going to get to probably in the next couple of episodes. And obviously, we've still got heaps of room here, heaps of room here. We've got heaps more over the other side of the hospital. We've still got so much work to do. It really is quite a nice view from up here on the tower. Now, another thing I forgot to mention as well is Jonathan made me this amazing little birthday cake here. He did this while I was on my birthday stream, so this is about almost 2 weeks ago now. And and it was absolutely amazing. I'm building that tower, and he's building this in the background. And I absolutely love it. Look at all the details on here. You've got the little candles on top. You've got the icing, all the different colour sprinkles and things like that. Have I got any blocks on me? Nope. And from the inside, he's got all the different foods. We've got the inside of the cake. He makes these little player heads. Like, look at this one here. Right? It actually looks like the cake that I'm standing inside of. But it's like a little player head. This one looks like a hamburger. He's given me some actual birthday cake here, which is good because I needed it because I hurt myself trying to get in here. And he's even put here, happy birthday. Don't forget to eat. Don't eat the turtles. And he's made a little turtle head. How cool is that? That's so awesome, right? It actually looks like a turtle in his shell. I love this place. This is so cool. It is going to have to get torn down, but I'm going to see if I can maybe somehow build a building around it and it can hopefully stay in the city still. But we'll see how that goes. Okay, so the first thing that I want to get done in this episode is actually in this building here that Z1 King built. So this is going to be a cactus farm. Now, I've built, this is just like a temporary staircase just so I can get up and I could sort of scope it out. Basically, that's the center of the entire building. He's got a 2-block center, so I'm going to work with that. And what I'm going to basically do is I'm going to build a small cactus farm around this, but it's going to go all the way up to the roof, basically. So it's not going to be tiny, but it's not going to be huge either. So this whole building will just be dedicated to getting some cactus. Later on, we'll upgrade this storage. This is just so that while we're building it, any cactus that comes along, we're gathering. This is all the cactus I have at the moment. It's just under 8 layers with what I've got here. If I had 3 more cactus, I'd have exactly enough for 8 layers of cactus. Of Cactus Farm. So by the time you start piling it up, there's probably going to be quite a few layers. I mean, each one of these, if you're sort of counting the iron blocks here, every 2 iron blocks is 1 layer. So it's going to have quite a lot in there. I haven't calculated it myself, but we'll figure that out as we go. Now we're going to basically keep it simple. We're going to go with mostly stone bricks. Here you go, got it in my inventory. I've got mostly stone bricks. There'll be sand, obviously, for the cactus to grow on. We're going to hydrate it so it grows that bit faster. You're going to use chains to make them break. So if you don't know how cactus farms work, let me just quickly build this first layer and I'll explain it to you. Okay, so this is literally all it takes to build a cactus farm. Okay, so you pretty much just build a platform out. You put some sand 4 blocks apart. Now, normally what I would do is I would only leave 1 gap here, but because this is a 2-center building, the building has 2 blocks in the center like that, I've had to make it a little bit wider, but it's fine, doesn't change anything for the design. So we're going to put these, the sand in the 4 corners here around the sea lantern. Then we're going to grab the ice and the cactus, and we might as well grab the chains while we're at it. So basically with the ice, you can use buckets of water. I just find it a lot easier just to sort of place ice and break it. You don't even technically have to break it. It'll break itself eventually. Like, it'll automatically melt because of the light levels. But essentially what you can see is no matter where anything falls here, if anything falls down, it all ends up going into this middle bit over here in the center. And no matter what, no matter where it ends up, it will always end up back into the hoppers in the middle, which is where we put the hoppers, obviously. So we're gonna put cactus on top of these. Now, if you don't know, if I do this for a moment, what you can see is if you put anything next to a cactus, like say a chain, yeah, the chain will actually break the cactus. Now, you obviously saw that got stuck on top of the chain there. So what we're going to do to avoid that is we're actually going to have the chains pointing up and down, which is a little bit hard to do until we put the next layer in. So let's go ahead and do that, and I'll be right back. Alright, so that's the second layer done. So now if we head back down the bottom layer... Oh, hang on. Let's try that again. So, perfect. First try. If you went down to the bottom layer, you can see nothing's growing yet, but that's fine. That's not a problem at all. So if we grab some chains now, remember I was talking about like putting them between the cactus. It's so much easier just to do them like this now. We can just attach them straight to the roof, and we just need to remember, we literally just need to put them on each side of the light. And all you need is 8 chains for 16 cactus. And that's all there is. So now if one of these cactus were to grow, is as soon as it grows, it'll pop off, and it will hopefully fall in the water stream. Now, occasionally they can land straight on top of the other cactus as well. That is always possible, and if it does, it just gets deleted and it just disappears forever. So we want to hope that that doesn't happen, but we've got, if we're looking in these chests at the moment, there's nothing in there. So let's keep building. Once I start running out of cactus, we'll basically come back in here and we'll have a look and see how much we've got there. Now, you don't have to use chains. You can use iron bars, you can use fence gates, you can use fence posts, you can use just about anything you want that can basically fit in there. You could even just put a whole block there. The reason I use chains is because they have a really small collision box. So when you put a chain down, it's only got this little tiny square here that the things can land on. And by doing that, it gives things a chance to, if you imagine they're on that block, they can actually fall in all of this space here, all of this space, and still fall down without getting deleted. So I'm going to build up the rest of these layers, and I'll see you when I'm done. Alright, and that is all done. Now, I haven't actually counted how many layers there are. So, if you're looking in here, you can see each layer as it goes up, and they're all there, all sort of going and ready to go. So, they have been chugging away slowly while I've been building it. Just in the time it took me to build it, we've got about, 6 stacks, I think it is, 6.5 stacks roughly, of cactus. So that's really cool. Now, the next part of this is, that storage is not gonna cut it. That is not gonna last very long at all. So we're gonna do a big upgrade on storage immediately, but we're going to do it with a bit of a twist. All right, so what we have here is, this is how an auto furnace works. If you haven't seen them before, they're relatively simple to put together. You've got your furnace here. Whatever hopper goes into the back of the furnace or into the side of the furnace, you can do it into the side as well. You could also do it from this side or even this side. But for this presentation, we're gonna do it from the back. So anything that goes into this chest is fuel. All right, that goes in here and it'll fuel it up. You can put anything that can that will create fuel, like such as coal, sticks, wooden tools, boats, you name it. It can all go in there. What we want though is something relatively renewable, something like bamboo or even sticks. We get quite a lot of sticks from the witch farm. Up the top here, anything that goes in there will get smelted down. So if you put, say, iron ore in there and coal in there, they'll actually feed into here automatically. Once they're finished smelting and they pop over to this side, this hopper down here will suck them out and put them down to there. It's a great design. If you haven't got one in your world, build one right now. It works on Bedrock, it works on Java, and it's just perfect. The best thing is, it's completely tileable. So you can just put like furnace after furnace after furnace all next to each other in a row like that, and it works just the same. Now, obviously you need to be able to get the items into the furnace, but we'll get to that shortly. So using that principle in here, this is what we've got. Now, we're going to have the cactus going up into the top one here. This one here is going to get some fuel later on. I haven't got the fuel sorted out just yet, but we'll do that in a later episode. But what's going to happen is when the cactus goes in and the fuel's in here, these furnaces will automatically smelt them up. Now, down here, we have a barrel, and we have a hopper. So this furnace is going to continue to smelt non-stop until the barrel is completely full, and then the hopper's completely full, and then this slot is completely full, and then it will just stop. When it stops at that point, all right, we will be able to just right-click on it and basically take, if there was an item in here, I can't put anything in there myself, but if there was an item in there, we'd be able to go boom, and then take it out, and that will give us the XP that the furnace itself is storing, because every item that passes through a furnace is stored. And I'll give you a quick demonstration of that right now. I'm down here in my basement where I've got the same setup of super furnace here. It's just a mini super furnace down here, but it gives you the idea. Now, what you can see here is food, items go in and other things come out. And I've used this a lot lately to smelt up a heap of stone, chorus fruit, and other stuff. Now, the reason these levers are on here is because I can actually use those to then lock hoppers behind if I want to take stuff out of it. And this is one of the ways I've been getting XP to repair my stuff. I've taken all my armor off. I'm not carrying any tools. And as you can see, down the bottom down here, I'm currently sitting on 3 XP. So if I lock this for a moment and I stick any item through here, let's just chuck one item through real quick. Okay, so I've chucked the stone in. It's come through as smooth stone. Now, because I've locked this hopper, all right, it won't let any through. Because this is empty, it'll just keep going. But because I've locked it, it won't actually let it drop because that hopper down the bottom there is being locked. When I take this, watch my XP bar. All right, boom. There's 10 XP instantly. And if you do this on a much larger scale, you can actually control it. And I might need my wings on if I want to fly out of here. I've lost my helmet. Now, by doing it the way I've done it here, where I've got the barrel, and then I've got the hopper, and then this will fill up as well, I can make sure that there is exactly 33 stacks of cactus being smelted through each individual furnace before it turns off. So all we need to do is just make sure we don't come up to a furnace while it's still smelting, and we wait for it to turn off. 33 stacks of cactus will actually repair one entire pickaxe, diamond pickaxe, from 0 to 100% durability. So netherite has a little bit more, but basically what it means is if this was on, say, 1 durability, I'd probably be a bit higher than where it is right now. And that is where I'm hoping to get to, because then I can sort of come through here. If I need to repair things like my tools and that, and I need it real fast, I can go through here and go bang, select, and I've got it. And all of a sudden, my tools are repaired. And by having 24 in here, and they're constantly going, it means that if I come through here and repair a couple of tools, and I keep going here, maybe I use 3 or 4 of them up in a day or in a weekend. By the time I make all the way around all of these and get back to this one's going to be full and ready to go again. It also gives us the byproduct of green dye if anytime we need it. Now, I will put a little rubbish bin in one of these corners where we can just sort of flick a trapdoor or something and just dispose of all the extra dye, because there will be too much. So I'm going to lay out all these furnaces, and I'll be right back. Okay, and now it's all done. So the technical side of it is all done. But the obviously the prettiness of it is not done. So what I've done over here, I've actually removed a couple of furnaces that were here. I'll explain that in a moment. So basically, we've got the furnaces and all the rest of that. You've seen that already. If we come around the back here, and I'll just jump up here, what we've got here is, see this? You can see this bit of water here. We come out here, we'll find a hole in the grass, and this hole heads down to a water stream, and away we go. So this is how we're going to introduce the fuel into the system. It'll come down this hole, through here, and then up through the top there. And there's a bubble column there. Once it goes up that bubble column, it comes up through here, and then it will basically just do a spiral, just a circle around. You can see it sort of goes there. And I've used the trick here. If you don't know this trick, if you see this one little pixel here, if I throw any item in this water stream, it's going to basically come here, it'll slam up against this chest, and it will sit over the top of this one single pixel of the furnace. And then, because the item will be traveling basically between the 2 blocks, between the furnace and the ice, it will actually get picked up by the hoppers still. These hoppers will feed into these double chests, and these double chests are what will feed the fuel that goes into the whole system. These chests are just there to be pretty. Basically, they're just there to sort of straighten everything up. They don't have to be chests, but they're just chests because they're simple to put in, and they're relatively cheap. When the cactus falls, it falls into these hoppers. I took away the chests, falls into these hoppers. They all feed into here, which comes down here, and then basically comes around and just does a snake all the way around. So this furnace here is going to be the very first one filled with cactus. All right, and then that hopper will fill up, And then once this one starts taking it, it'll then go into the next one, and so on and so forth. Now, the reason I haven't bothered putting chests over these, I could have put, if I really wanted to, I could have put chests on top of all of these, and then I could have put a hopper line, and that way you've got a hopper and a chest to go into a barrel and a chest, and it would be the perfect amount. But I figured if this thing's just running constantly, by the time this cooks up a cactus or a couple of cactus, this is going to be growing a few, and they're just going to be flowing in anyway. As you can see, we've got, what, 1, 2 and a half. So we've got basically about 15 stacks of cactus in a very short time, really. If I AFK here one night, I reckon all these furnaces will be filled up. And then once it gets all the way to the end, and this is the last furnace here, if there's still more cactus coming through, they'll actually come through into these 3 double chests. So we've got a little bit of an overflow protection in here. Now with the fuel, there is no overflow protection. It'll just keep circling. And the main reason I've done that is because the fuel is not going to be fast enough. The fuel is very hard to keep up with a system like this. So I'm basically just going to run the fuel till it's all filled up, and then these can all keep doing what they're doing, and then it'll shut itself off, and we'll just try and keep it topped up. Now out here, what we're going to be building, and it won't be in today's episode, what we're going to do here is we're actually going to build a bamboo farm. So this will become a bamboo farm. It'll have a flying machine, it'll have all the fancy stuff, and then all the bamboo will get shot out into this water stream down here, which will then feed that. And that's how we're going to get it done. So now it's time to make this look a little bit prettier, because I don't really want to be walking into here, seeing all these hoppers and furnaces and things like that. It's just not that pretty. And even like when you're walking from the street, you know, I don't mind seeing all the cactus now. I actually think that looks really cool. I think it almost looks like like actual floors, you know, like level 1, level 2, level 3. Whereas this here, it just looks a bit messy. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a little bit of probably some wood tones, maybe we might even use some of this deep slate stuff, just so it sort of matches. And we're going to be basically building some pillars on the corners that are going to be holding everything up, so that way it looks a bit more sort of natural. And we're going to build a pillar right up through here, so that they're not just floating, because we don't want them just to be floating. And then we're going to cover up some of these hoppers so that we won't be able to see so much of what's going on. I didn't want to cover it up just yet because I want to make sure I still had access to make sure it's all working, but it's 100% working. As you can see here, everything's full. So let's pretty this up now, and I'll be back in a moment. All done, all done. All right, so I've decided to go with the smithing table for the floor, because I feel like, you know, with the furnaces and all that, I think it's a bit, it feels a bit industrial to me. So I've gone with a bit of an industrial look to it, kept it all dark, kept all the colors dark. I feel like we've got enough room walking around here. We've got the barrels, obviously. There still is no fuel going into there just yet, so this won't be working until at least another episode from now. But, you know, we've got plenty of room to walk around. We've got a smithing table. I love this floor. I absolutely love the floor that you get from a smithing table. And then we've got the furnaces. All the hoppers are hidden behind these stairs. We've got an upside down stairs and then a right way upstairs. And then up here we've just got some wool covering up the actual hoppers and everything else. So if I break that, and I'll probably lose that, you can see all the workings on the inside. So we'll cover that back up. But that's all done. Alright, now before we finish this episode, there's one more thing I want to do. We've got Mr. Traffic Warden over here. I want to make sure he can stay. I actually don't want him to go. I think he looks fantastic. And I love the way he's just sitting in the middle of the road. So I've come up with a plan. And all it's going to take is that. And then if I can get rid of that one. Get rid of that. Put that there. That there. That there. Okay. So what happens here is this bit of glass here is going to sit right in the middle of the creeper's head. It means he's not going to be able to see us. And by putting these bits of glass around the outside, he's also going to feel like he can't pathfind outwards. So we're all going to test this right now on camera, and hopefully this goes to plan. But if I get rid of everything except for the stuff I've put in place, he shouldn't blow up, he shouldn't chase after us, and he shouldn't be able to see us. Oh, he couldn't see! Okay. That didn't work. He saw me. Oh, it's a bit disappointing, but it was still funny. We had a good laugh. Alright, so the creeper's gone, and alright, I think that is a perfect place to end the episode. So thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate you being here. I got to fix up some road here. I got to put a new light in the middle, and maybe we'll find another creeper at another point. But until then, I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!